Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in. Today, we're doing a react video to Dashing David's Will Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3 actually release next year instead of 2027. I saw this video and I messaged him and I asked him if I had the permissions to react to his video, and he told me yes. I'll put up the comment like right up here somewhere. So we're going to be going over this. I have a few things I'd like to go over with this, considering I am absolutely hyped for when Final Fantasy VII Part 3 will come out, since I was there waiting for around Corona time for Remake to come out, and then I was there 2020, well, what was it? It was 2022, around February when Rebirth dropped. And or was it 2023? I can't remember. But now we are on the path to Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 3, which I am adamantly shouting that it will be called Returns. Return or Returns? I'm going with Maximilian, dude, and I'm gonna say Returns, just off of the basis that I know a lot of people think it's gonna be called like Reunite it's not gonna be Reunion. Anybody who says it's gonna be Reunion, you're wrong. It's not gonna be Reunion. I'm sorry, that's just not gonna happen. It was used for Crisis Core all that time ago. So let's go over this video with Dashing David, and we'll see what he has to say, and I'm gonna interject here every once in a while. Let's get into it.
32, we're back, of course, talking some FF7 Remake Part 3, and we are asking the question, is it possible that we get this game next year? It sounds kind of crazy, but hear me out. So when you go back to last year, a lot of us were speculating that we'd get something for Part 3 this year, specifically summer of this year. And it was based on how they kind of did the marketing for Rebirth. As I'm sure most of you know, Rebirth's development time was about 3 years. There's obviously a 4-year time difference between Remake and
Also, anybody, if you watch my videos and you see me working on a video from anybody else, I will always say, go subscribe. You see what it says up there. Go to Dashing David's YouTube page. Just Dashing David on YouTube, and subscribe to his channel. He gives out there's like 3 main people, well, maybe like 4 main people that I get my Final Fantasy VII update news from, and Dashing David is one of them. Maximilian, dude, Nice Guy Prince, and Blitz. Those are like the 4 main Final Fantasy VII dudes I get my news from, and I mean, I hope to become one of the Final Fantasy VII connoisseurs that can get up into that league with them one day. But I digress. Go subscribe to Dashing David.
Was about 3 years. There's obviously a 4-year time difference between Remake and Rebirth, right? 2020, 2024. But a year or so of that time frame was used to develop the Yuffie DLC, Episode Intermission. And this isn't like speculation on the community's part or some shit. This has been told to us by one of the devs, specifically Katase, in the Rebirth Ultimania. We were told this by people translating the Ultimania last year, that, again, DLC took about 1 year, Rebirth took about 3 years. So when you factor that in, Rebirth's development started in 2021, and we got our first look at the game a year later, summer 2022. It's kind of where the speculation for our first look at Part 3 kind of came from, is how they handled Rebirth, right? Rebirth got its first look in about a year into development. And in fact, we're being kind of generous speculating summer of this year, because Rebirth came out February of last year, right? We're speculating summer of 2025, which is actually like a year and however many months. So we're actually giving the devs a bit more time to come up with like a first look trailer or whatever. So why I bring up this question about the potential of us getting the game next year is sort of based on the recent interviews we got with Hamaguchi, where he keeps talking about info for Part 3. Because the language that he's using to me doesn't sound like just a simple teaser. Because we're all kind of speculating now at the Game Awards, right? The end of the year, we might get our first look at the game. But I don't know that we're going to get just like a simple teaser like we got for Rebirth, right? Because Rebirth, we got the first look trailer. It was very short. It gave us a little bit of look at the game, a title reveal, and that's kind of it. And we kind of got really nothing for the most part.
I think when it comes to the Game Awards, we're more than likely going to get something. They've been working on the third title since, I mean, I think they started working on it before, like right as Rebirth was actually released. They were like right into the next title. They have the plot done. They have that. We just got news that mocap I'll put up pictures right there, but the mocap actors were in the studio, and they said something about they were doing some really dramatic and emotional scenes, getting those done. I think, and they're almost done. I think even the voice acting is done. I'm not 100% sure. There's not really been news portraying that all the voice acting is done, all this, and this is done or anything. But I mean, how long they've been working on this, plus they're like Dashing Dave is gonna say here in a moment, they're carrying over work from Rebirth, and on top of that, they're keeping the same dev team from Remake, and so it's not like they have to teach anybody else anything new. They're just keeping and they're bringing all the old work into the new work, which now that's going to make everything a whole lot easier for the dev team, especially with Hamaguchi leading that. Yeah, I think Dashing Dave is onto something here when most of us kind of figured that the third title would release around 2027, and a lot of us think that it's going to be 2027 because that'll be the Final Fantasy VII 30th anniversary. So that does line up, but with the time frame that the game is being worked on and that things are being completed, I think the only thing that could really hold us back to actually getting the game in 2027 is the fact that Square Enix likes to take their time and polish. So like this is the very last of the titles for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they've been working on this. This is their baby. This is their cash cow. They've been working on this for over 10 years at this point. So I'm more than positive Hamaguchi and everybody at Square Enix wants to get this right. Like if they flop on the third title, dear God, they're gonna have a lot of angry Final Fantasy VII fans, like new and old.
For a whole goddamn year until Summer Game Fest 2023. We just kind of use that as a baseline. If we were to just get a simple kind of first look teaser trailer at the end of this year, we wouldn't, in theory, get the marketing started until Game Awards next year, which I just don't foresee happening. For starters, that would just be kind of weird to do, but also Hamaguchi is saying more info, right? We're not just going to get like a teaser and then they're silent for a year. He's talking about more info for the game, which again, to me, sounds like a trailer and then like potentially marketing, at the very least, like some interviews giving us information about the game, talking about the game.
I'm not sure if we're gonna get a trailer at the Game Awards. If we do get anything, we'll probably like they did with for Rebirth. We'll more than likely get a name drop on what the third title is going to be called, and maybe a trailer with that. But I think if we do get anything, we're obviously going to be looking forward to a name drop on what the third title is going to be called.
Aspects of the game, the gameplay, whatever, right? He's talking about more info for the game. So again, I just don't foresee us getting a simple like teaser at the end of this year and then they're like silent for a large portion of 2026. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. If we're actually getting like some sort of like full blown kind of trailer at the end of the year and them actually giving us info and interviews and details about the game, it sounds like the marketing is kind of kicking off. And why that matters is that when it comes to Rebirth and also Remake, the marketing for those games has been less than a year. So of course, ignoring the initial reveal of Remake back in 2015, the 2019 like re-reveal as I always call it, we got a state of play teaser in May of 2019, and then the big E3 showcase in June of 2019. But the game was supposed to come out March and then delayed to April of 2020, right? So again, less than a year. We then of course had the first look trailer for Rebirth in 2022, but the marketing didn't start yet. It wasn't until Summer Game Fest 2023, right? Which is summer 2023, June 2023. The game came out February of 2024. So again, less than a year. So all that is to say that if the marketing were to kind of start at the end of this year,
It took them what about like 4 years after Remake to get Rebirth out. So everybody's really counting on the time frame from getting Remake done to Rebirth being out, and from Rebirth being out to the third title, probably another 4 years. But it's hard to calculate. A, not knowing all the information that Square Enix knows, and B, knowing that they're carrying over work from Rebirth. I mean, half of the world is already done, so they're saving a lot of time on that. It's really just a guessing game. I mean, we can all guess and speculate all we really want. I'll steal a page out of Maximilian's book. Nobody really knows. Nobody's got the right answers except for Square.
beginning of next year, the game almost has to come out in 2026, just based on what we have. The marketing's always been less than a year for the FF7 remake games. unless they wanted to do like a full year of marketing, kind of counting down to the anniversary for FF7. Of course, 2027 is the 30th anniversary of FF7. Also, the 40th anniversary of the Final Fantasy franchise. So they could potentially go a different route with the third game where they do want to market it for a full year, again, kind of counting down to the anniversary. But just
I think Square Enix, obviously with this being the last title, they're going to be hyping. Hype. They love doing that shit. Hamaguchi loves going out on interviews and vaguely dropping bombs here. I don't know if you guys remember, I think it was for Rebirth, where like a couple months before the game dropped, they would give out like these little hints each week, like one little hint each week, and they'd have like a word or a letter highlighted or a couple letters highlighted. But I remember looking forward to them like each week from the dev teams. But I do know, even if they don't drop off like and they just pop off with a crazy 2, 3, 5 minute long trailer, we're definitely gonna be eaten. I mean, especially a year before the game drops, they're gonna be throwing all sorts of shit our way to keep us fed and to keep us hungry for what's about to come, because they know, for all the people who have been following this Final Fantasy VII remake train since remake dropped, we're all very much looking forward to the third game. I mean, it's the cliffhanger. It's the return of the king.
based on what we have with the remake project thus far, it's always been less than a year of marketing. And to be clear, I fully do expect the game to come out in 2027. That makes the most sense. I don't know why they would do anything differently. But we're just kind of talking about the possibilities here and just some of the language that's being thrown out there in terms of like info and stuff soon for part 3. It just kind of feels like we're getting more than just a simple teaser at the end of the year. And if that is the case, again, it feels like it maybe come out 2026 unless they go a different route with the marketing, which I'd actually love. I would actually love if there was like a full year this time for the last game, kind of marketing the game, talking about the game. This is the last part of the trilogy, right? The last part of the story. I would kind of like them to spend a lot of time talking about it as much.
I think all of us would love if the game came out a little faster. If we don't have to wait until 2027, by God, I'm not going to be mad. I mean, if they're confident in the fact that they got everything polished and detailed up enough to release the game earlier than 2027, I don't think any of us are going to be mad about that.
It is also possible that we could get like a teaser trailer or a first look trailer at the end of this year, and then it's like a short amount of time, and then the marketing kicks off, as opposed to like the full year that Rebirth got, right? Maybe they give us a brief look at the game. Obviously, I would assume a title reveal, and then they give us more info through like interviews and things like that around that time, and then they tell us to like wait till like summer 2026, we'll say, and then that's when like the marketing kind of kicks off, similar to Rebirth. Which I do think is a possibility, because actually think about it now, like the marketing for both Remake and Rebirth has started in the summer, E3 2019, and then Summer Game Fest 2023, right? So like they seem to like to kick off the marketing for the remake games in the summer. So if that was the case, again, it would emulate the marketing they did for Remake and Rebirth, where they kind of kick it off summer of next year, and it's probably less than a year of marketing, right? And it drops sometime early 2027, pretty close to the anniversary.
That's why a lot of people think is probably just like Rebirth dropped in February. It'll probably be around the same area of the year for part 3, either like early 2027. If it is 2027, it'll be early 20, like January, February, maybe March, depending on like what they decide to do with the game and what state it's in by then.
Now, let's take note of too when we talk about part 3 is that it's been being developed for quite a long time at this point. For sure, we know about 18 months as of right now. We were told at the beginning of this year in January by Hamaguchi that they were about 9 months into making part 3, that they had started in March or April of 2024. Simple math here, of course, January of this year to October of this year, 9 months, 9 months, 9 months, year and a half they've been for sure making part 3. Maybe something a little more interesting is that we were told as far back as 2022 that they were already starting to develop part 3 in some capacity. So we'd got some dev messages in summer of 2022 around the 25th anniversary live stream where we got that initial reveal of Rebirth, and Nomura had mentioned that they had already started making part 3. Specifically, he had said, in fact, some development has already begun on the third title. I myself have started on the development and working towards the completion of the series. Now, clearly that would have been like early stage development stuff back then, but still, like part 3's been being made for more than 3 years at this point, almost 3 years and 4 months, but for sure a year and a half of like actual development. So like they would be pretty far along potentially. Also, you got to factor in the carryover from Rebirth to the third game where most of the world's already done, right? There's not that much they have to do, technically speaking. Like most of the world's assets are going to be reused, right? They still got to develop, the rest of the continents and stuff like that. And
I mean, realistically, we still have if they keep it in there, I hope they keep it in there. Bone Village, we have Icicle Inn, North Crater, Wu Tai, Rocket Town, um, Medeal, and I mean like other things like Goblin Island, the Knights of the Round Island. However, I hope they do something fucking awesome with that. Excuse my language. But other than that, I think that's about really all they have left to make and put on the map. They have everything else. I mean, we got Gongaga, we've got Midgar, we've got Junon, we've got Costa del Sol, we've got Corel. Um, we've got a lot of the map already unlocked, so that's gonna help, especially factor in for part three's timing.
Underwater stuff in the skybox where we're gonna be flying around and whatever.
Yes, and the underwater exploration. I almost forgot about that. That's an entire different whole landscape, not to mention the stuff in the sky with the high wind. So, I mean, I know a couple of my friends were like, well, we only have so many more places to go, like all the places I just named off. But then you have to also factor in the fact that we're going to be going underwater, hopefully fighting the Emerald Weapon. We're going to be up in the sky and the high wind. We're going to be going all sorts of places that I mean, we're not lacking any areas for us to be able to go to. There's still a lot of the game to be done still. I mean, it's basically still like a disc and a half of Final Fantasy VII to be still played out. So
Goes into the high wind shit. Right, there's still a lot to do for sure, but like a good chunk of the game was already made when they finished Rebirth. By the time we get to the end of this year, the Game Awards, where we expect to potentially see Remake Part 3, Rebirth is almost 2 years old, which is like long after the time frame we got of like Rebirth's development to
God, it's crazy to think that Rebirth has been out for that long. It still feels like a brand new game to me. Like I still remember the state of play when they dropped the trailer and they announced that there was a demo out for it. I remember practically jumping on my PlayStation 5 and like beating the hell out of it to reload to give me the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo. God, that was such a good time. I don't normally scream at my TV or clap and yell, but when I heard Rebirth and a demo, I start freaking out. I love Final Fantasy VII so much. Cannot wait for this third game. I'm gonna be doing the same fucking thing at the Game Awards.
the first look, right, which was almost exactly a year. So for me, it'd be a little bit strange to wait almost 2 years after Rebirth came out to just get like a simple teaser trailer at the end of this year and then silence for however long, right? It's not impossible, but it'd be a little bit strange. Which again is how we circle back around to the discussion of potentially getting the game next year because it feels like we'd get more than that at the end of this year. It's been like that goddamn long since Rebirth came out, right? That like a simple teaser would be a little bit strange at this point. A teaser made sense the summer of this year, and then maybe we wait like 6 months, a year, or something to get to the actual marketing. But to wait all this time just to simply give us like a little teaser trailer and a title reveal and that's it would be a little bit weird. This is, of course, Square Enix, so you never know with them, right? They could do that shit. They're kind of weird when it comes to their games. You never know what they're going to do exactly. They
We have to factor in, and I've said it once, twice, a couple times in this video already. We have to factor in that this is the last game. This is the last title for the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. So it's not beyond Square Enix, at least in my mind. It's not beyond Square Enix to throw us through a couple of loops and to keep us guessing because that was the entire trilogy. It's making us wonder, making us guess on what the fuck is going on and keeping us talking. So they know that this is the last chance that they're going to get to have their entire Final Fantasy VII remake community talking, wondering, guessing, conversing, theorizing with everybody else in the community. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do after the third title drops. I know they said they were thinking about doing something and they had some ideas in mind, but after the third title drops, I mean, the only thing I can really think of is like remaking Dirge of Cerberus, redoing like Advent Children Part 2, the different outcome or something like that, or making like a Netflix anime special or Final Fantasy VII. Beyond that, I don't know how they're gonna keep kicking this cow to keep making it produce cash over here. So this is their very last opportunity to make the community, make us start going crazy and theorizing, because once this game is out, hopefully we'll get all the answers that we're looking for. Now, I'm not saying I don't want a little bit of ambiguity at the end of this, because the OG Final Fantasy VII was full, chock full of ambiguity. We didn't really know what happened to our main protagonist and the main characters at the end of Final Fantasy VII, the original. I mean, besides the fact that you get the Red 13, the Nanaki scene runs in with the little Nanakis, which, if you haven't seen already, the devs have provided us the facts that there was supposed to be like a smokestack coming up out of Midgar to let us know, hey, humans survived the meteor, but they forgot to put that animation in the end cutscene. So, like I said, this is the last opportunity Square Enix has to really make us like get us on the edge of our seats and wonder what the fuck is gonna happen.
Seem to be a little bit better now, where they want to like show off a game when it's like close to releasing. So that's another thing that kind of leans in favor of potentially the 2026 thing, where like if they're going to show the game at the end of this year, why would they wait all the way until goddamn 2027 to actually release the game? Like that's something that kind of leans in favor of the next year release window or whatever. To be honest, there have been people in the community speculating that 2026 for quite a long time. I've seen it in my comments, several times over the last like year or so. Most people seem to think 2027 because it does make the most sense. And obviously, based on what Katase said, 2027 makes the most sense. There also are people that think 2028. I think those people are just pessimistic. Obviously, don't know any more about the development than you guys watching this video. But there's just no way that it comes out any later than 2027, right? That'd be too damn long. We've only heard positive things about the development of the game.
I agree with Dashing David here. Anybody who thinks 2028 is definitely thinking like the worst of the worst case scenario. Because with this much of the game already being done and with how much work they got to carry over into part 3, I don't see any scenario besides like them really sitting down and be like, oh, this is the last title. We really have to polish it. We have to make sure everything is in order. But I don't see that happening, considering they've kept the same dev team. They've kept all this work going over. They've been working on this since Rebirth. I think before Rebirth even released, honestly, since they were working on Rebirth, they like kept the titles going continuously. So I think longest case scenario 2027, early 2027.
We're told about a 3-year development period, right? Like, there's just no way it extends to fucking 2028. I will say one of the things that does go against the 2026 release date potentially is that it would have to release in later 2026 because they'd obviously have to market the game throughout the year. If it's less than a year, it'd come out later 2026. And that's just not something they've done so far with Remake. It's been, again, at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I remember at the with the trailers on Rebirth, it would say I think the first one said winter of 2024. It's very confusing. Yeah, they haven't really dropped a single remake title in the winter. It's usually all been like spring, summer.
Unless they want to switch things up, which would be a little bit strange, but maybe. I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty much it for the video, my dudes. A little bit different kind of a video, more of like a dialogue, a conversation with you guys, I guess, if you want to call it that. Something we haven't done in kind of a long time, I'd say. But it's something I was thinking about the last like day or two. Just some of the way like Hamaguchi's kind of speaking about info for Part 3 soon. It just feels like more than just a simple teaser trailer. So I just want to kind of get that idea out there and see what you guys think, right? In a video format, what you guys think about the potential of 2026. I fully expect 2027. It just makes the most sense. It'd be stupid not to release it then. But it also, to me, feels like it's been a little too long to where like a simple teaser trailer would be kind of strange at the end of the year. These, of course, are just my thoughts on the matter. Pass off to you guys. What are your thoughts on the potential of us getting Remake Part 3 next year? And when do you expect it to come out? 2027, 2028, 2026?
Well, that is the video, guys. Once again, thank you, Dashing David, for allowing me to react to your video about talking about when Final Fantasy VII, the third title, is going to be coming out. I want you guys to hop down into the comment section and let me know your thoughts on when you think Final Fantasy VII Part 3 is going to be coming out. I'm kind of new to the Final Fantasy VII newscast YouTube thing, but I hope to bring a lot of you guys a lot of updates and news. I'm a little late to the party. Could have been doing this since Remake. I figured now was better than never of a time to get in here and start letting you guys know what I see popping up from interviews to tweets from the cast to cast talks, letting you guys know what's going on with the third title coming up here. So if you guys like what you saw today, please remember to like, share, subscribe to my channel. It really helps out a lot. Also, if you haven't already, go over to Dashing David's channel. It's very nice of him to give me permission to come over here and react to his channel. So give him a subscribe as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.